Welcome back, friends. We were discussing about functions in C. In the last couple of videos, we were discussing about details about functions in C. In that series, we have discussed about library functions. We have discussed about user-defined functions. We have also discussed about call by value and call by reference. Call by value and references quite thoroughly. In case you missed those videos, you know what you have to do. Please go back and complete those videos and come back so that we can take this discussion to a different level. Now the next important topic will be definitely recursion. The interviewer who are interviewing at the campus recruitment, 60% of the question coming from this function, and from the function there will be a chance to get a question from recursion is almost 99%. Almost 99%, because recursion is most dangerous concept in any programming language, and these are basically programmers paradise. Programmer thinks they can crack you, they can make you fall in this particular terminology. So make sure you understand this particular concept before going to recursion. We'll answer every question of the recursion, don't worry. Before going to recursion, we definitely look into some aspects of functions. I hope we have already discussed that one, but I need to give more focus on that. The question is, can you please tell us when a function is called? When a function is called, what is happening in memory? What is happening internally? We'll go and answer this question. When I say internally, means what is happening in the memory allocation, right? Remember, whenever a function is called, definitely function called means there will be a function called as called function, there will be a function called as calling function, and you know calling function always calls a called function, right? Now each time a function is called, what your operating system does? Operating system does allocate. Operating system allocates a memory in the stack memory area for the calling function. Remember this point, for the calling function. Who allocates the memory? Operating system allocates the memory. Never say C program will allocate the memory. That is completely a wrong statement to spell out. And during allocation of memory in which memory area? Stack memory area. Stack memory area is an area in your internal memory where all the functions will be allocated or reserved some memory when they are called. Remember that point. Not only function blocks, all these things are created only at that particular memory location. Now, if, and you can also agree with me, the stack memory area is not infinite. It is not infinite. Definitely we have a limitation for that, right? We have a limitation for that, right? Now, if the requested space, I repeat, if the requested space is not there in the stack memory, if the requested space is there in stack memory, that's fine. Operating system will allocate that one in the stack memory area, then the execution begins. We'll understand how the execution begins. We are only at the point, if the requested space or the required space for the function is not there in the stack memory, then what will happen? What will happen? We will definitely going to get an error message. If we can write, if sufficient memory is not there in stack, then what is going to happen? Simplest of simple thing, out of memory error will occur. Out of memory. This will be this is completely a runtime error. This is not a compile time error. And the effect of out of memory can be caused in two different ways. One, it will say program terminates abnormally. Number one. Second one, your system will get halted, or it will be get halted, right? So two out of out of these two, definitely you are going to face one problem. I just repeat, whenever a function is called, a stack memory area will be reserved, and this reservation allocation will be done by your operating system. Only if there is space. If there will be not enough space that we are requested, immediately it will throw a runtime error called as out of memory. And the result of out of memory is your program will terminate abnormally, or it might be get halted. Remember this point. Now, let's say there is sufficient memory, the stack memory area is allocated. Now, what is happening next? What is happening next? The next is, once that has been allocated, it starts execution. Which one start execution? Calling function start executing. Calling function starts execution, right? Once, remember, once all the statements of the calling function is executed, once all the statements of the calling function are executed, when all are executed, then the control goes back to the calling function. I think I have misspelled something here. Not the calling function, the called function, I'm sorry. The called function starts executing once all the statement of the called function are executed, then the control goes back to the calling function, right? This is the point you need to remember. Right? And once the control is transferred from called function to calling function, once the control is transferred or is transferred to the calling function, then the memory allocated for the called function will be deallocated. Remember this point. So these are few things you need to understand. Whenever a function is called internally, these are the things that is going to be happen. First, your operating system allocates the required amount of memory in the stack memory area, if that is available. If not available, 100% pakka we are going to get one of these error. One of these error we are going to get at what time? We are at runtime. Remember this point. This is not a compile time. Compiler never allocates memory, never checks for memory full or memory free. It never checks for all that. So make sure you understand who is responsible for this. Next, whenever it is allocated, the called function starts its execution, and called function only terminates after executing all the statements there. Once all the statements inside the called function is getting executed, the control will go back to the calling function from where this function was called. Right? Okay. Now, this particular one will be continued till main function is reallocated, right? You will agree with me, every C program definitely has a main function. If I want to execute this program, this particular program should contain a main function, right? And when we execute a C program, what will happen? Suppose let us discuss about one specific example. Suppose I am writing a function called as main here. Then I am calling a method called as M1, calling one more method called as M2, one more method called as M3, right? Let us do this example. What is happening there? When this particular program starts its execution, you know every C program starts its execution from the main function. Immediately operating system requests for allocation of this main. Every function should definitely require some space, right? And inside that space, it will create all its variables that is only available to that particular function. Remember this point. Whenever main is called, as per the discussion, a memory area in the stack memory area, a memory area is allocated. Now the name of the memory area is main. Let me name this particular one. The allocated memory in the stack memory area is called as a frame. That means a stack frame will be created with a name main once main function is called, right? Once main is called, what is happening? Main starts its execution immediately. What is the first statement we have to execute? The first statement is M1. Now it will call M1 function. Once M1 function is called, as per the definition, immediately one more frame will be created, and that frame will be created for M1, right? Now M1 is a different frame. Now since there is memory is available here, suppose this is my memory area, since memory is available here, now it can say I can happily execute that, I can happily allocate memory space for M1. Now M1 getting executing all its statements. Suppose all the statements are get executed. Once all the statements are get executed, then what is going to happen? The control will be transferred from M1 to the calling function, right? Who called this function? Mainframe called this function. Now the control is now going back to main. First statement has been executed. What is the second statement? Immediately it say, can you please call M2? Once the control is transferred, this particular frame will be no more in memory. Remember this point. This will be automatically deallocated, right? Now this particular memory space is free. Remember this point. Now once first one will be called, second one will be created. Once M2 will be called, immediately a frame will be created with name M2. Now once M2 completes its execution, once the execution will be done, same thing will happen here. M3 will be called, and before M3 called, this particular memory area will be deallocated, right? Similarly, when M3 is called, now you can guide me what to do. A separate memory frame will be created with the name M3. Once all the statements are getting executed, definitely the control will turn back to the main function, and this one will be deleted automatically, right? Now after M3 is getting executed, do I have any other statement in main? No. And we have completed the last statement. Once all the statements are executed, immediately main function will be deallocated. Means this is the end of my program, right? Now that means the step that we have just discussed will continue till main function, till two things. Either I'll get a memory out of memory error, or main method or main function will be deallocated from stack memory area. If main function will be deallocated from stack memory area, we can say the program is terminated normally, right, or gracefully. If it is not, we'll find one condition called as abnormal termination. Make sure to understand this point, right? Because this particular experience will definitely help me in recursion, right? Now let's get back to recursion. Now recursion, if somebody will ask you, can you tell me what exactly recursion is, you should have one answer. Recursion means a function calling itself. This is as simple as this, a function calling itself. At some point of time, if inside this particular program, suppose I am talking about this particular program, suppose inside main, if I am calling main function for one more time, now this is what called as recursion, because here main function is calling itself. This function is called as recursion, right? Or this function is recursive in nature, means I am calling the same function within itself, right? So this is called as recursion. This is only for your knowledge purpose, right? Now let us cross check how recursion function actually behaves. Suppose I am writing a main function. Make sure you understand this point. Now I am writing printf hello. Now what I am doing, I am writing main for one more time. Can you please tell me what will be the output of this program? You will say, sir, this particular one will go on and on and on till infinity, isn't it? This particular program will be executed for how many times? Infinite number of times, right? Okay. Make sure you understand this particular point. See, this is not the original case. It will not going to be executed for lifetime, for infinite period of times. If you can recall, we have just discussed, whenever a function is called, immediately a memory area is allocated in stack area. Only if the memory is available, right? Here, first main frame will be created and it displays hello for the first time. Then which method is again called? Main is again called. Since main is again called, one more frame will be created. Hello will be printed. Again main will be called. One more frame will be created. And this process will go on and on and on till my stack memory says, boss, I don't have any memory to allocate main function for one more time, right? At that point of time, we are going to get an error message called out of memory. The program will terminate abnormally. I hope you could able to understand this discussion. Let us cross check, then we'll move forward. Let us cross check. Okay, let me write a main function. Let me go with void main. We'll start with the simple example. Don't worry, we'll start with the simple example. I'm writing printf hello, right? And for your convenience, let me put a slash n here. After then, let me call main function for one more time. Code compiles fine. And now see, my system is already halted because the stack memory area is full. It cannot able to allocate much space further. So I have already told you, I'll get either of the two message. Either the program will terminate abnormally or my system will be get halted. Those are the cases for which one? For yes. Why I'm getting all these kinds of errors? Because there is no more stack memory area to execute further. Let me go for the let me check for one more time. I am printing hello. I am printing hello, right? Let me call this one more time. Definitely, you, as per the discussion, will get out of memory area. See, again it is getting halted. Again it is getting halted, and my program is terminated abnormally. I have not done anything. It will be automatically terminated, right? This is the problem with recursion. The major problem with recursion is if we are not defining any termination condition, definitely at some point of time we are going to face out of memory error. And this error is only at runtime. I repeat, this particular error is only meant for which time? Runtime. This is not for compile time. Remember this point at always. So the famous error for recursion at runtime is out of memory, or it could lead to terminate your program abnormally, or the system will be get halted. Either of these two things will be there. Make sure you understand this point, right? Now, let us see how recursion, what are the different steps for recursion, how recursion really works, and why we should use recursion. See, it is not always recommended to use recursion for all the algorithms, all the programs. No, recursion cannot be applied to all the programs. It has some limitation, it has some advantage. Advantages, we can see complex programs can easily be solved with the help of recursion, right? But you don't have to apply this recursion for smaller program. We'll discuss this particular one if time permits, maybe in some other video. So let us discuss the basic fundamental thing of recursion, then we can go through, right? Every recursion, before going to that, let us go for an example that will, I think that will give us clear-cut clarity about recursion. Let's see. I'm writing this particular program. I'll go with the same program, let's say demo add here, right? Now here, as you can see, suppose I'm creating a function called as m1, void m1, sorry, void m1. Let me call this one. Suppose here I am writing int a. I think you all know about this, right? What I am doing, I am writing printf. I am writing printf %d followed by a. %d followed by a. Now, after then what I am doing, I am writing m1 a minus 1. Listen to this one very carefully. Now, while in the main function, what I am doing, I am calling m1 of 5. So now what is going to happen? Once m1 of 5 will be called, immediately this one will be called with a value 5, a will be 5. 5 will be printed. Then a minus 1, 5 minus 1, how much? 4 will be printed. Again 3, 2, 1, 0. And this one will go on and on and on till out of memory is encountered or my program halted, my system halted. Any one of this can see. At certain point of time, -7834, now my program is getting terminated. I have not terminated the program, rather the program will be terminated abnormally. I don't have any control in that. This is the problem with out of memory, right? Now, if I could able to write something here, suppose I am writing here, if the value of a is, let's say 2 or maybe 0, what I'll do, I'll write a statement called as return. Let's see what is happening. Let's see what is happening here. Save this program, compile this program, execute this program. See, the output is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Let us understand how this particular function behaves, then we can go through, right? Let me write the complete code once again in the editor so that we can able to understand. What we have done here, we have written void m1. Void m1. And inside that I was writing like int a, right? Okay. Printf %d followed by a. Then what I have done, I have written if a equals to maybe 0, I am writing a statement called as return. Writing a statement called as return. Then what I am doing, I am doing void, sorry, not void, m1 a minus 1. A minus 1, right? Now inside this one, what I'll do, I'll only call the method called as m1 with a value maybe 4 or maybe 5, whatever it is. Now let's see what is happening and how this particular one behaves. Definitely you will agree with me, since I am calling m1 function inside the definition of m1. This is a concept called as recursion. Function m1 calling itself. That's why this is called as recursion, right? Now let us see how the recursion is basically helping us, right? Because I have passed 4 only, right? Remember, all the things will give you much clarity here. Once your program is getting executed, immediately first frame that will be created for the function is main. Inside main, immediately what is going to happen, m1 will be called with a value 4. Immediately a frame will be created for which one? For which one? Which function? m1 function. But here, while m1 function, the value of a is how much? Remember, the value of a is 4. Now, what will be the first statement inside m1? 4 will be printed, right? Which one will be printed? 4 will be printed. Immediately it will say whether a is less than a is equal to 0. Is 4 is equals to 0? This is wrong. False. So that one will be not there. Immediately what is going to call? Similarly, m1 will be called with a minus 1. What is the value of a? 4. So 4 minus 1 means how much? 3. Immediately one more stack frame will be created. Now here the stack frame says m1, but here the value of a is now 3. So 3 will be printed. Immediately it will, the next line, 3 is equal to 0. No, wrong. Again m1 will be called with a value 2. Make sure you understand all these points very thoroughly. Similarly, m1 will be created with a is equal to, yes, a is equal to 2. Now 2 will be getting printed. 2 will be getting printed, and this one again false. Again m1 will be called with a value 1, right? So m1, for m1 1 it will be created. M1 1 means value of A is now 1. 1 will be getting printed, right? Now it is called M1 of 1 minus 1, that is 0. 1 0 is called, again a frame is called for M1 with A is equal to 0. 0 will be getting printed. Now 0 equals to 0. True or false? Absolutely true. So what is the statement that is going to be executed? What is the statement that is going to be executed? Definitely the statement is a return statement, right? The statement is a return statement. Once a return statement is encountered, where it will go? It will go to the function from where it is called. M0, M1 of 0 is called from M1 of 1. Now this particular one will move to this particular function and immediately this one will be destroyed. Clear? Now since all the statements of M1 is executed, no more statements has to be executed. The control again go back to the calling function. Who called M1 of 1? M1 of 2 is called. So this one will be deleted. Similarly, it will go to here. This one will be deleted. This will be going to here. This one will be deleted. This will be going to here. This one will be deleted. Now main function M1 is already called. Is there any other function? No. Now M1 will be deleted. Now my entire program will be deleted like this. This is the beautiful concept of recursion, how recursion basically behaves. Remember, to understand recursion, you have to be pretty sure about framing of memory, what exactly memory frame is and how that one behaves, right? Now, few things I need you to understand here. If this particular statement is not written in recursion, my recursion will definitely give me an error called as runtime error. Runtime error means out of memory error. Either system will be halted or I might get a message called as abnormal program termination. Why all these things happen? Because I have not specified any termination condition. Remember that point. In recursion, the most dangerous part is to specify the termination point or the termination condition, or we are calling this one as base condition, right? Now if base condition is not there, 100% pakka, recursion will give me an error called as out of memory error. Make sure you understand this point, right? So termination point plays a very vital role in recursion, right? So I think you could somehow able to understand what exactly recursion is. Now let us see one more example. With that example, we'll conclude this session. Maybe in the next session, we might come up with few more concepts. Now, let us create the function. Let us create one more example of function, of recursive function. We'll try to find out the famous factorial problem using recursion. Now you can tell me, suppose I have given you to find out the factorial of 5. You will agree with me factorial of 5 is equal to 5 into 4 factorial. Similarly, 4 factorial means 4 into 3 factorial, right? So if I am writing n factorial, look at this point very carefully. If I am writing n factorial, don't you think n factorial is equal to n into, again, factorial of n minus 1? We will use this particular concept here. We'll use this particular concept in our function. Let us write that function. Suppose we are writing, let me directly write that program inside here so that we can understand. Let me rename this particular function as factorial. And if you want, what we can do, we can also return one value from this factorial. Will go like this. Okay, now let us go for one variable result. I'll go with result equals to fact of 5, no problem. And finally, once I get the value, what I'll do, I'll go on printing printf %d followed by result. This is the result of the factorial, right? Result equals to this. If you want, I can put a backslash n here, right? Now, let us write that program. What is the base condition here? What is the base condition when my program should terminate? If I'll write if, look at this, look at to this one very carefully. If suppose I'm creating one variable called as result. Now, if I'll write result is not required, let us not declare this result. We'll go directly. Now, let us see what I'm writing is I'm writing if a will be 0 or a will be 1. I hope you can understand. My factorial product, if I'm writing factorial of 5, can you just guide me? If I'm writing factorial of 5, where should I go? Where should I go? I should go like, suppose factorial of 5. Can you please tell me 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, right? So where should I terminate? Where should I terminate? I should terminate at 1. But the twist is, what is the value of 0 factorial? Yes, what is the value of 0 factorial? It will be 1. So either my value of a will be 0 or value of a will be 1. In both the cases, what I am writing, what will be the value for factorial? 1. So I am writing return 1. I think you don't have any problem here. You should not have any problem here. Otherwise, what I need to do, I am writing very simple. What I'm writing return a into factorial of a minus 1, like n into factorial of n minus 1. If you can recall, this is exactly same that we have called. Is that fine? So how many line of code we have written here? Only 3 line of code, right? Program says it's fine. Let us execute the program. Let us see what is happening. The result is how much? 120. Don't you think this is very, very interesting? But if you, by mistake, if you forget to specify the base condition, your life will be definitely hell. Immediately operating system says, boss, the requested memory cannot be reserved because I am already full. I cannot go beyond this. So that's why to specify the base condition, it's very, very vital. You should understand this. The base condition, termination condition is very, very vital while working with recursion. Let us understand how this particular function behaves, right? Let us see how this particular function behaves. Let me copy that function. Let us copy that function so that will be very easy for us to rewrite. Turbo C3, I'll go to bin. Then what was the name of the program? This one. Let me copy the entire code, then we'll understand each one of them line by line. Don't worry. We'll understand them each one line by line. Let me take this one to here, right? Now, you will agree with me, this is completely recursion because you can find factorial function is called within this. Factorial function is called within the definition of factorial function. This is purely called as recursion, right? Because function calling itself. Now, here what is happened? What we have specified? We have specified the base condition. The base condition is when the value of a will be 0 or a will be 1, immediately my function will terminate, right? Okay. Now, let us see what is going to happen in the same way that we have discussed. First, which function will be called? Main function will be called. While we are calling a main function, what is the first statement? What is the first statement? We have declared a variable called as result, right? And what we are doing, we are writing result equals to fact of 5. Remember, fact of 5. Immediately a frame will be created. For which one? For this function called as frame. Fact function frame is created. Now, value of a will be how much? Because I have called as 5, remember. For this particular frame, the value of a is 5. At some point of time, I have already told you, if we are calling a function, each time a function is called, a separate frame will be created and all the variables are created separately and those variables are local to this particular frame. Remember this point. Now, inside this frame, value of a is now 5. Remember that point. Now, what it does inside this one, it will check whether value of a is whether 5 double equals to 0, true or false? False. 5 double equal to 1, true or false? False. So this statement will not be executed. Now what it will say? It will say return, which one? A is how much? 5 into, remember this point, fact of A minus 1. What is the value of A? 5. 5 minus 1, how much? 4. So immediately one more frame is created. The name of that frame is again the called function. Which one is the called function? Fact. Now value of A for this one will be 4, right? Immediately the first one will be false. What it will do? It will write return. What is the value of A? 4 into fact of 4 minus 1. That is how much? 3. Remember. Then we have to create A is equal to 3. The same factorial. First one will be false. This one will be 3 into fact of 2. I hope you all could able to understand what I am writing, right? Okay, immediately after this, one more frame will be created. Let me scroll this one so that I'll get some memory where I can draw that figure, right? Once 2 is called, immediately a frame will be created for 2. Suppose here I am creating fact of A is equal to 2. The first condition will be false. This is neither 0 nor 1. Immediately return, what will happen? A into 2 into factorial of 1. Immediately one more frame area will be created with factorial A is equal to 1. Now we have written A equals to 0. You know this is false. A equal to 1. I think this is true. If this is true, what is written there? Return 1 means 1 will be returned. To where it is returned? From the function where it is called. Factorial of 1 is called from factorial of 2. So this 1 will be replaced here. So now it will say 2 into 1, right? Now this function will again return to which function? From where it is called. Factorial 2 is called from factorial 3. So F2 will be replaced with 2 into 1. How much? 2. Similarly, this one will be destroyed, right? Now A3 is called from A4. Now this will return 3 into 2. How much? 6. So in place of F3, what will be there? 6 will be there. And immediately this one will be destroyed, right? 4 into 6, that will be 24. Again, it will be returned to the function from where it is called. Factorial 4 will be replaced with how much? 24 now. Now this frame will be destroyed. Now 5 into 24, 120 will be returned to the main function. This one will be deleted. Since we don't have any more function, many statements to execute for main, now main will be here main will display the value of the result, then it will be getting terminated. This is how your recursion method basically executed, right? So while executing the recursion method, make sure you understand all these points. Make sure you understand all these points. The basic thing is, every time a function is called, a frame is created. As per that one, you can go through. And here one dangerous concept is there called as base condition. Base condition is what? This is the condition for termination. If this is absent, 100% pakka, we are going to get an out of memory error. Either my system will get halted or I'll get a message called as abnormal termination. We have repeatedly, I am telling this particular point, right? One more point you can add in recursion. Recursion concept always uses a data structure concept, stack. Remember this point. If there will be a question which data structure is used by recursion, the answer to that question is stack. Not because stack memory is created, but what? Because let us understand. Let us understand. Suppose this is a stack memory area. This is a stack memory area. Whenever I am calling a function m1, then m2, then m3, what is happen? For main function, first one will be created, right? Then m1, m2 will be created somewhere. Again, it will be returned back to the main as per the discussion, right? There is no guarantee ki m1 will be created right here, m2 will be created right here. No such guarantee is there. But whenever we are creating a recursion, we are calling a recursive function. Suppose we are calling factorial. What will happen? The stack memory area will behave like this. For the first time, f of 5 is called. So f of 5 will be here. At the top of f of 5, f of 4 will be there. At the top of f of 4, f of 3 will be there. So this is what called as the concept called as stack. Stack always follow first, last in, first out. The function which is called last will be destroyed first. I repeat, if you can recall, whenever we are calling factorial of 5, what is going to happen? What was happened in memory? It is happened like f of 5 will be created first. Then f of 5 is calling f of 4. F of 4 is calling 3. 3 is calling 2. 2 is calling 1. And 1, when it is getting satisfied, the value will be this one will be destroyed first. Then 2 will be destroyed. 3 will be destroyed. 4 will be destroyed. 5 will be destroyed. So destruction is always reverse in order. So this is a concept, last in, first out. The function which is called last will be out first. That's why recursion method always uses a concept of stack to execute its execution, right? So this is all about, this is a small introduction about recursion in C. Remember, recursion is very vital concept for your interview room. Make sure you understand this point, right? So today's concept, in today's session, I just tried to introduce what a recursion is, how the recursion behaves, and how the memory stack area basically used in recursion, right? And the most, I repeat, the most dangerous thing in recursion is don't forget to add the base condition. If the base condition is wrongly added, you know what is going to happen. The result could be definitely different, and 100% pakka I am going to get a runtime error. Either abnormal program termination, or my program will be halted, or my system program will be halted beyond my, which is beyond my control, or beyond the control of the programmer, right? So this is all about recursion. Thank you so much for joining me. In the next video, we might come up with some new concepts. Thank you all.